I have a message strictly for Tim Ballard. The rest of you, you really don't have a reason to finish watching this video. If you want to try to help get this video to Tim, that is fine. You know how to do that. You know what buttons to click to push this a little farther. But this is strictly for Tim. Tim, you think that you are in the church, but technically you are not in the church. You are out of the church. A few days ago, you released a video where you were just flustered, upset, and emotionally put through the ringer. I know I have been there, but not on the scale you have been, but emotional torment-wise, absolutely. And I could just see it was all over you, and you're just frustrated and trying to get your head around what has happened. But you stated that the church couldn't have done this. Like, can you imagine? I think you even pointed to somebody off the camera screen and were like, can you imagine the church doing this? Because they just couldn't see the Mormon church betraying someone. And you were like, I can't even see it. Like, can you imagine the church talking to Vice? It's just, that's so far out of our mental perception that this doesn't even seem logical. Now, the reason you're struggling with this so much so is that deep down in your gut, you know what is right. You know that what you did was right. Our whole culture, anybody that's like got any type of morality left to them, we all know that you are the good guy in this story. You're out there saving women and children from lives of sexual slavery and bondage. Man, that is tremendously good. And you know it down deep inside. You know it logically. You know it from culture around you. You've got some common sense. You know this. And so what you're trying to get your head around, though, is how on earth could I be doing the right thing and be betrayed? But it's beginning to sink in, and I bet you've had a little more time to think about this. And I want you to think about what they're accusing you of. Whether these facts are true or false. I want to hit to something in another second. But what are they accusing you of? They have made this out about you possibly sleeping around with women and then these, dirty campaign financing, showboating or something. I'm not even sure all the parameters of that. But they're accusing you of things. But everybody knows there is really only one issue at stake. It is the rescuing of women and children that are sold out to this stuff, that can't control their lives because people are oppressing them. Everybody knows that is the issue, and you stood on the right side of the issue. But now your church is actually stepping up and validating that they are, and they'll say, we did make this claim. We don't support womanizing and bad campaign financing, etc. But they don't have your back. And by them not having your back, when everybody knows what you stand for and what you did, well, let's just say this. Instinctually, how many situations were you in with your gut when you had to read through a person? And that's one of the reasons you were successful at this, is because you could read through situations and you knew who to trust and who not to trust. And your intuitions would drive you. And your intuition tells you that something is really screwed up about this whole thing. And if the main issue is about pedophilia in high places, then why in the world is a church standing against you? I'm going to give you 4 just points to ponder. Like, number 1, why is Mormonism peddled as Christianity? Why, when you get onto the Mormon website, that you cannot find any disagreement whatsoever with Christianity for pages and upon pages? Like, you surf all over it, and everything on there is Christian. It's a Christian context. It's Christian this. It's Christian that. And it is not until much later and much deeper does one find out that Mormonism is not Christianity. These things are way different. They are two separate animals. They don't have anything to do with each other. So my first question is, why does the Mormon Church pretend to be Christian up front and then kind of do a bait and switch thing? Second thing I just kind of ask you to consider is, why are there these secret meetings and rituals and activities, like the secret underwear thing that's really not so secret that we all kind of know about? Like, why the secret things, the hidden things, the practices that I don't even want to mention on here, because they're just not accepted society-wise, and for the same reasons that we know that pedophilia is wrong. Why are those practices within this church that pretends to be Christian up front that does anti-Christian things later? On top of that, when Joseph Smith was trying to get his traction, why is it that the churches cast him out? Why did he get cast out everywhere he went with his new ideas? Now, I don't know from your side of the fence, I don't know what you have been taught about this, but I hope that you'll begin to think about these things, not with maybe the explanations you were given at first, but like to really start thinking through these things again, like to ponder. And the Mormon Church probably has their version of what happened to Joseph Smith, but go to these other churches and historically look around what they say, and they're like, we don't accept these doctrines, we don't accept these protocol, these standards, etc. We're not accepting that at all. Why is there a clear division between the two? I'll give you one other thing, and I don't want to bore you. I am a casual Christian apologeticist, and I mean that in a very literal sense. I'm casual, but I've got a list of reasons that Mormonism doesn't hold up. Of course, there's always these, responses that will be crafted later, but like this, it just doesn't make any sense to me, like how the golden plates disappeared. That was a question many people had for a long time, and now, because it has been brought up so much, the response is, well, they vanished, or at least that's what I'm hearing. To make up rationalization after the fact, that's just not really cool. And to top all that, Revelation says not to add to nor take away from the scriptures, and yet the Book of Mormon is an addition, and there's several other books, like the Pearl of Great Price, and I forget your book on doctrines. But what are these other books that the church spends most of its time in rather than in the Bible that says not to add to it? And why is that the case? The truth is, Tim, you're not in the church, you're actually on the outside of the church. The truth is in the Bible. It is in Jesus Christ as taught in traditional Christianity. He is here to offer salvation and to reach out to all that will come to him. And maybe you're allowed to go through this shaking up time so that you can see clearly, but you really need to understand that if a church will blatantly endorse pedophilia, as we have seen another very large church do here in recent years, that something is terribly broken inside. You need to trust those who have actually escaped Mormonism. Dig into it. Don't take my word for it. Watch some other videos. There's plenty of people out there pushing information, desperately trying to get people to think instead of just be conditioned and brainwashed. And so really think about these things, and we beg of you, brother, come home, come to the true church, to the body of Jesus Christ, endorse him as your Lord and Savior, and find some true fellowship amongst those who know what is actually right and wrong.